mean, come on. I'm just glad Danica Patrick dumped him because I hate the fact that a Bears fan was dating the Cardinals or the Packers quarterback. So
you already got Cardinals on your mind. I think you know.
now we got to listen to Carter. Jesus.
That's a good segue. Our next presenter, our next speaker is going to be Carter Rethwisch, a business advisor down in St. Louis. He's I let him tell his story. His story is obviously amazing, and it just absolutely resonates with accomplishments and what you're capable of and what you can do. I'm gonna let him share his story. And Carter, if you'd start with just letting us know a little bit about you've been on a roll. You've been selling Thryvs. You've been hitting your bonuses. You've been on a streak. Tell us a little bit about how many Thryvs sales, a little bit of your successes, and then if you would share with us your story. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. 17 Thryvs so far this year, about $6,000 in revenue. One thing I just figured out early on, essentially, what was the compensation plan and how do you hit your bonuses? So to my knowledge, I have not missed a bonus since I started here, which was actually in the field early 2018. So to all 18, 19, and now 20, every month hitting my bonus. So with Thryv, it makes it easy because Thryv is such a good product.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, if you would share with us some of your techniques. What are some of the techniques you're using? What's working for you for getting people interested in the conversation and getting the Thryvs on board?
Yeah, and I sent you that presentation. Do you want me to share that to you real quick, or you want me to just talk?
You can go ahead. I'll get up here in just a second. Here we go.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of people recognize that I've kind of got a passion for life and a little bit of a burning desire because I was a lot of people say, well, how can you say you were fortunate to have been hit by a drunk driver and been in a coma? And I say, well, that depends on how you look at it, right? And one of my favorite quotes is the glass half full or half empty? And the other one is, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are correct, right? Because our mode, our mental attitude towards whatever is usually with us. So here's a picture, a little interview we did with a doctor that talked about, and we had a discussion about the odds based on the head trauma that I had. So I'm known as this Cardinal Cowboy character, had a baseball career going, and was hit by a drunk driver. And next thing I know, I'm pulling a ventilator out of my own throat 7 days after. So on the 7th day, I rose. We've heard that one before, I think. But 1 out of 100 odds to have what they call full brain function recovery is what the doctor said. Those who know me would probably question his accuracy there, but I see Robin shaking his head. But
yeah, full brain may be a stretch, but I think you're back to functional, Carter.
All right, good. Well, I mean, that's all you need for Thryv is such a good product. But yeah, go ahead to the next slide for me there, Brad. And so this proves that back when this is when I was 16 years old. I've been wearing this red cowboy hat. I'm a big Cardinal fan, and I love what the Cardinals do. If you guys see my hand on the screen here, but this is the first iteration of the Cardinal Cowboy. Go ahead, Brad. And then here's where the baseball career was on path. The guy in the top left corner, his name's Brian Rupp. He out-hit Derek Jeter. If you know Derek Jeter, he's the world-famous shortstop for the New York Yankees. He got stuck behind Scott Rowland for the St. Louis Cardinals, who ended up being a lot of people think he's going to be a Hall of Fame third baseman. Maybe he's not going to quite make it, but he got stuck behind Scott Rowland. We're all in the same picture. We all won the same award. Right next to me is Morgan Burkhart, and he did make it to the big leagues as a designated hitter, first baseman for the Red Sox. So that's where I was, and then 18 months later, I'm pulling a ventilator out of my own throat, coming out of a coma. I argue that God had a different plan for me. Go ahead to the next slide. Here is what happened. Here's the car I was riding in. A lot of people, I do show this picture periodically. I've showed it to, this is part of my presentation sometimes. And when I give speeches, I show this a lot. There's much worse pictures than this with a lot of blood on them that I don't show many times. But I was in the back seat of this car, and people look at that and they go, "And you survived this?" Yeah, but I was fortunate. The driver of our car got killed. He died while I was in my coma. Go ahead to the next one, Brett. So what I do now is I take the opportunity. This is what helps me resonate in the community as somebody that people they can kind of trust. They know that what I'm about. They know what I stand for. I'm not just some salesman coming in. And I talk about how I overcame my coma. I'm talking to a bunch of kids here who are battling cancer. Talk about something to overcome as a kid dealing with life-threatening cancer. And I wanted to give them my message. And I do that around town. And I share these pictures with people. They live stream this for me. Go ahead. But as I came out of my coma, I was very fortunate. I worked for Anheuser-Busch, largest brewing company in the world. I managed their email systems, going from coma to where they said I wasn't going to be able to take care of myself. Some people still question that, right? To where I was building the corporate email clustered servers. One time we had one blow up, and I had to rebuild it, and they gave me an award from the CIO for doing that. Go ahead, next slide. And then a competing company, guys, years ago, we used to compete with Reach Local. I worked there, and then decided I was going to go into sales after a technical career. When Anheuser-Busch laid everybody off, you see I was one of the top sales guys in the country for those guys, ended up being one of 2 or 3 in the top in the company. This is for the region, for the Midwest. Go ahead. One of my other passions is the speaking I get to do. This is a Facebook message I got back from a kid who was sitting in the audience. You never know who you're talking to. And this kid said to me, if you can read it there, I'll just give you the quick summary, is that I was considering suicide until I heard your story. And now I want to fight and I want to live. That is enough of a reward right there to hear from some 17-year-old kid who had a stroke at age 17 who wanted to give up on life. So that's where my passion comes from. Go ahead, Brett. But I do work at a lot of different organizations and charities. This young lady, they asked me to be a local celebrity escort for the kids to walk down the red carpet. But you can't tell, but this little young lady, she has sarcoma and she has a metal left leg. And you want to talk about inspiration. Later on, I gave a speech about how these are the heroes, these are the champions, and they've got super capabilities with superpowers who do super things. And I ran into her later. She wears her metal leg out where everybody can see it, and she's proud to beat her sarcoma. A lot of kids like that we love to support. They inspire a lot of people. Go ahead. So then I ended up being nominated by a state rep who just got termed out. I was talking to the guy who running to replace him yesterday for voting. And she nominated me for this award for helping kids who had brain injuries. So that's me sitting on set at Channel 2 talking about that award. And the next slide you can go to. And here's this little award. It's for helping kids and other adults actually that have had brain injuries who didn't recover as well as I was, as I have. Some people still question that, right? But, another one of my passion. And again, ties into my story. I hope that people just see, identify what's going on here and say, there's the opportunity for everybody to get out in their community and just if you start doing things in the community, these kinds of things will come your way, and then it helps you build your story and share with other people what you're about. Go ahead, Brett. And then by chance they said, hey, we're going to stream this live Facebook game with Brewers and Cardinals, exclusive rights bought by Facebook. They said we got to get a local community guy. Who should we pick? They picked me, and then about 4.6 million people watched this overall game. I don't know how many, couple 100,000 were watching this interview. They didn't do commercials. They had interviews of some of the pro athletes and former players, and they did this for me. But again, if you're out in the community doing things, you never know what you might get connected with. Good. And then first year here, and then last year did well too, but this is the first year I ended up finishing #1 in the company overall with, the Done Thry, and really just was excited because now I've proven again what I could do even after what doctors had told me I was never going to be capable of, right? And so this is again part of my story. Go ahead, Red. And you get to do a lot of other. This is this particular event is the Drive-In STL, which was listed by Forbes as one of the top 10 events you can attend right now, given everything's got to be kind of socially distanced. And so they cited us, and I got to participate in that. But just as a community character, was invited to be part of that because of the stuff we're doing. So then we get down to it, and here's where I really could say, all right, so that's my story. That's what I love to share with people, and I talk about, hey. Hopefully now you can trust me, you understand what I'm about, and most people know that before they sit down with me. And then I say, let's jump right to it. Don't believe exactly everything I say. Let's talk about some of the experts on the face of the planet. So a lot of people have heard of Neil Patel. There's Gary Vee, Trey Llewellyn, Russell Brunson, Miles Beckler. These are all guys that are like world famous internet marketing guys. But this specific, this was an email. I subscribed to Neil Patel's list, and it came to me as an email, and I said, hey, this one really hits home for Thryv. So he says, nurture, close your audience, automate your follow-up. So this is where I can have this conversation with people while I'm casually talking to them and then going for the close later, because this part of my presentation is so to the point and so easy for people to understand. Go ahead, next slide for him there, Brett. So he says a little bit about Neil. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He's listed by Forbes. He was listed by Barack Obama. He's listed by the UN as one of the top under 30 and 35 entrepreneurs in the world. So this guy is world renowned. He speaks all over the world, around the world about internet marketing. He says, here's the bottom line. As many as 73% of the prospects that have come through to you are not ready to buy or be sold. And at least half of them really are not prepared to make a purchase. So when you've got 73%, that's all I say to somebody. Don't you imagine? And this is part of what the speech I gave when I talked a year and a half ago down in Dallas. You know, if it's 1 out of 10, here he's saying it's 3 out of 4. And if you just followed up with those 3 out of 4, then most of us don't, right? Most small businesses don't do that. But if you do, that's literally where the money is at. Go ahead, next slide for me. Because the companies that follow up, they have a 450% increase with their leads, have a 450% increase in qualified prospects, and they see 50% more sales at 33% lower cost. So what that means is they're going to go back and get these sales from things that they otherwise might have given up with, and the cost is so much cheaper because they've already paid for these leads, right? They already did the pay-per-click, they already did the networking, whatever it was they did, this lead was already in hand. Why go chase more leads, spending more money or more time when it's much cheaper to just follow up with the leads you've got with the software that we offer here? Because it's exactly what Neil's talking about. So remember, when there was 3 out of 4, or at least 50% that were not ready to buy, now if you, after nurturing, 15 to 20% of those come back and they become sales, and at a 47% larger clip. So when I start to describe this to people, then they start raising, wow, yeah, you're right, there's a ton of people. My last sale I just got was from an attorney, and she says, yeah, I know there's dozens of clients, and I just don't follow up with them. I don't send them a follow-up email. I don't do anything. Maybe I call them, maybe I send them a text message. That's where that really resonates. So here I am, this is from that speech last year. I talk about, you know, as being a top consultant or a rep, just about everywhere, because I'm so driven, I focus. There's a lot of things, if anybody knows me, I am terrible at a lot of things, but there's a couple things I've really decided to focus on and be the best at. And I spend most of my waking hours. I was sending Brad emails at 5:30 this morning saying, hey man, this is some of the stuff we want to talk about. But technology now has literally leveled the playing field. Now everyone has access to it, and it's really up to those who want to get it and take it and use it that will win. Get moving, the time is now. And then my saying I always say to kids is dream and then chase your dreams. Go after it now. That's the card I send out and hand out to kids at Cardinal games and speaking events. So here's where it really ties in. Go ahead, Brad. This is a little 6-step thing we've talked about. Really the first 3 most people are doing, right? It's those bottom 3 where they need to go into a system where they capture the lead. On step 3 is where they capture the lead. They posted, they've kind of designated who they're targeting with number 2, and number 3, they captured it. Where's it go? Does it go to an email list? Does it go to Zaza land and gets lost? That's what I say. Or where it should go into a CRM, right? We've got that, right? Then it goes to an automation follow-up process, and then it goes back to another special offer. They can get a coupon, a scheduling option, or some special purchase that they can make. So here's the components that we offer that help facilitate that. Go ahead, Brett. What can you do with Thryv, right? You can automate your social media, right? One major component, automate your social media. There's one, right? Go to the next one for me, Brad. You can automate campaigns. You can have campaigns that are set up to hit clients specifically with tasks and things that they need, that they should be interested in to help promote your product, right? Automate campaigns, number 2. Another one, Brad? Automate your client management. Now you've got them all in one systemized place, a CRM, right? Another component built into Thryv, offering something that is absolutely necessary, but it's all included in Thryv. That's number 3. Number 4, now you can have systemized follow-up. So they've come in with a campaign, or they've come in with as a lead, and they get systemized follow-up things and say, hey, you're a new lead, we're gonna hit you. Here's a follow-up to something, here's a contest, here's a welcome, here's a VIP, here's a birthday follow-up. These are all automated follow-ups that are separate from campaigns. They're automatically sent out and can help really nail and follow up with the clients, just like Neil says you should for those 73%. Number 4. Number 5, you can automate your reviews. Like, how many people know that if somebody looks you up and you've got 2 or 3 or 5 reviews, they think you're kind of a joke, right? So you've got to get yourself up to where you have around 200, 300 reviews, and you want to have an average around 4.7. Reviews are critical when somebody's making a decision to buy. Number 5. Number 6, automate the scheduling. A lot of people are thinking about this, working on it at night, and you're not there to answer the phone. They're not going to call you at 10, 11, 1 o'clock in the morning. But if they can schedule with you right there and see the options you have, time available, how much easier does it make for them to say, I don't have to call you, we don't have to coordinate back and forth. I'll send the time in, you approve, and you can meet. And then more important for this, most people, and I don't know how many times this happens to me, I have it on my calendar and I forget that I have to look at my calendar, but had I got a text reminder, now it pops up and says, hey, your meeting's in 2 hours. Hey, your meeting's in 15 minutes. These reminders as via text and text marketing really help to make things so much easier. And all of these are built into Thryv, right? I think this is the last one. There's a couple here. Automate your coupons are another huge way. And this, again, another thing built into Thryv that's all built into one system, right? So you've got coupons and promotions that you can track which coupons they're opting in on, what your conversion rate is on those coupons, how many people are redeeming those, what percentage are selling, and track that all automatically. And finally, get your online listings in order, right? How many people don't even realize how important that is and how much that affects your ranking with Google? Something that most people completely overlook, and they don't realize people are getting the wrong number from some other ancillary website they don't think that they're on because they don't know there's 76 places that they're listed. And online listings is included, obviously, also. And then, yeah, I think this is the last slide. Actually, I threw this one in, or the previous one in, but naturally, you want to be able to make it easy for people to pay, right? You send them a link, they click on it, they go to a website, they can enter their credit card information. They can open it on their cell phone and pay you right there. A lot of times that's autofill too, right? They got a credit card already saved. They just click that card, send it, put in the CV code, and they can pay you. If you want to get paid, you got to make it easy, right? And then the add-on that we've all talked about now is that you've got apps that really make it easy to integrate with other systems. Clover, a lot of restaurants use that. Jot Forms is really important for people who fill out forms. MailChimp, a ton of people using Constant Contact. QuickBooks, I mean, you can go down the list. Now we've got Shopify. This really is kind of a game changer because now they don't have to keep going to all these separate ancillary components. They're all easily connectable into one application. So this slide I created right as I was getting started with the company. I think I had 9 sales in 9 weeks when I first got started. Somebody said, what's this guy doing? I said, I just created this little outline. I've done this before in a similar development where I was putting this together for clients, but I was having to do it separately. Online scheduling from one application, estimates from another, social media from a third, mobile access separate, reviews, online listings, emails, texting, all those things were sold separately. And that's literally the cost you would see those would cost you on average. To get those integrated and set up and have a support team to help you, you know, you're talking $1,000 just for the software. You're talking about another $780 for the labor involved to have that kind of support. You're talking $1,800 to get what we offer for between $200, $350, and $500, right? And then you can see the ROI that would even come out if you can just get ancillary small increases. So finally, here's the pricing. Plus for $200, professional $350, and unlimited right there. And I show people these options and explain the differences. And you guys know what those are probably. 500, 10,000, 5,000, 10,000, and then unlimited. So there it is. Easy to find me. I'm easy to get a hold of. If you're a customer, I always tell people they can, or client, prospect, call me, text me anytime. I've got a little funnel website page I created just for informational purposes right there. You can get more information, easily contact me. And you guys are welcome to contact me and talk more about this at any time. I have a lot of people who have reached out to me over the last couple of years and said, hey, tell me this, what do you think about that? What's working for you? And I'll help anybody with that. I'm up just about 24/7. I do go sleep sometimes 5 or 6 hours a night, but text me and I'll let anybody reach me and I'll talk to them.
Cardinal, that was awesome. Very good. Thanks for sharing your lyrics. Thanks for sharing your techniques and your story. You got quite a brand. I mean, it's amazing. It definitely resonates with a lot of people, and it definitely speaks to your accomplishments and what you're able to achieve. So awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Let's look at the chats here. Good tips, a lot of good feedback. Thank you both, Dan and Carter, for sharing that. Very awesome. You can both sense too their enthusiasm, like Robin was saying. You know, they wake up, they want to get it done. They want to find a Thryv, obviously. And I think if we all go with that level of energy, and we all take some tips from, you know, we've got some great tips this morning. We've had tips in previous Thryv Ovations, but just this idea of sharing what works, you know, what works for some people doesn't work for others. Hopefully we can all grab something from some of these and carry it on in the field and help us all be successful. So very good. Let's see if we got any questions here. Yes, I'll send these slides. Let's go into some of these other questions. Do our current Thryv clients have these additional enhancements, unlimited mail? Yes. So every Thryv website every sync with website has the same features on those website features that I will email out. Is website speed impacted by the template? For example, if the heading has a video in place of static pictures, yes. Website speed can be slower if it has video, if it has a lot of video, things like that. One video, things like that is not going to be that drastic typically. If the size of the file is small enough, then it'll be fine. But yes, the amount of media on a site does impact speed. And can the client do this, or does the web mods team need to help? So if we're talking about the ADA compliancy, the client can add the widgets on themselves. Can you minimize your photo bar so we can see those? A little bit too late for that. So we have a Shopify site first, and then we can integrate with Thryv. So yes, it sets up if we have a Thryv, it doesn't matter, but in order to get Shopify integrated, they have to set up the Shopify. So yeah. Is the site you're using to show what this looks like a live customer? Yes, we have live customer examples. I'll send as an example, and we also have demos that are not live. And then the Shopify pricing, we talked about the pricing. It is not $5 a month for Shopify. It's $5 a month for the integration. And then the plans start at $29 a month on Shopify.com. And all the Shopify stuff is up to the client. We don't get involved with helping them build it. We don't get involved with advising them on what plan. That's totally on them. We just help with once their Shopify is live, once their Thryv is live, helping them go through the app market to connect it. That's about it. Can we do multiple services and products for e-commerce? And yes, the light e-commerce that we talked about can have multiple products, but they have one widget. They're not going to have drop-down arrows. If they need that customization, they're going to need something like Shopify. So very, very good. Okay, let's see here. I think that everything else is the same. Yeah, good, perfect. So let's go ahead through here. I want to open up now over to Robin, so I'll stop sharing as well. And thanks again for sharing those, Carter and Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. And this has been a great session, so I don't want to do anything to derail it. One thing that struck me as Carter was going through his slides is how easy it was for me to understand, right? And it was very simple, it was sequential, and it hit upon, some of the pain points I might have as a business owner, right? It wasn't so feature heavy, it was more solution focused, right, Carter? And I think that's one of the challenges we have is, at first glance, people look at Thryv and it's really complicated. I got to learn how to use it, and it may turn some folks off. And so I really like how simple you made it seem, Carter, right? And obviously building up your credibility to start. We don't all have an amazing story like you do, but we all didn't have to go through what you had to go through, right, Carter, to have that amazing story. But 99% of the people in the world would have folded their tent, but you didn't, and it is inspiring every time I hear it. But we all got stories. We all got brands. We all got, something that sets us apart from everyone else that knocks on the door or calls them or Zooms them. So figure out what yours is and leverage it, and keep it simple. The key to selling software or anything else is to keep it as simple as possible for the client. Because think about it like this: if it was that simple to understand, we would just, sell it online and not need a sales force to do it, right? Okay, the company needs us to close that gap, to help these clients understand how important the software is to them, and not just software, Thryv leads, print, so on and so forth. So really good story.